guest on your video. We are going to start with it. Good evening to all. A very warm welcome and greetings of the Abad to all our revered members of Charles Walter Society for Innovation and Research. Welcome back to yet another virtual Grand Summit on Education. I, Dr.Nagarajan, Principal of Surendra Institute of Engineering Management, Siliguri, and Deputy Director of CWSIR, invite you all to join for the prayer come virtual lighting of lamp to formally inaugurate the world's greatest virtual summit on education. Thank you so much for joining the today's event. I would like to say a few words about our organization, CWSIR, Charles Walter Society for Innovation and Research, founded by Dr. Smita Tiwari in 2019, and under the able presidency of Dr. Abhishek Pandey, vision for promoting research and innovation, and targets the mission to strengthen the society with enlightened intellect and wisdom through the specific ideology from the specialized field. CWSIR is a staunch believer that research, creativity, and innovation can only guide the entire fraternity of education to a destiny that can produce good literature, research scholars, national and international patents, the wider perspective to develop and implement feasible definition of education. Believing in team and collaborative work, Charles Walter Society for Innovation and Research pays heartfelt gratitude to its executive members, state and country coordinators, country ambassadors, board of directors, and secretariat, and all our governing bodies. Before moving on to the today's agenda, I would like to say a few words about today's Summit on Education. The World Education Summit is the premier international platform dedicated to innovation and creative action in the education sector. Here, top decision makers share insights with on-the-ground practitioners and collaborative to rethink and find out various emerging opportunities in the education landscape at present and in future. The summit aims to explore the groundbreaking innovations and encourage steps to ensure significant improvements in the global education sector. No doubt, education has been one of the most impactful sectors worldwide. World Education Summit would provide everyone with the opportunities to network, share your experiences, and expand knowledge in the fast developing academic sphere. So we are going to have 2 day session. In day one, that is today, we are going to discuss about a grassroots approach which deals with the new educational system from infrastructure to building a strong foundation. And tomorrow we will be discussing about a journey towards a new world which deals with new way of learning with offline, online education and the blended learning. The concluding day of the event, especially tomorrow, the event would feature about the future of education in India and the role of digital system. With this preamble, I invite Dr. Kushum Kanwar, Executive Director, Meetex CWSIR to start the session with her intro speech. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nagarajan, for your introduction. And greetings and namaste to all luminaries and participants. Thank you, CWSIR, Charles Waddell Society for Innovation and Research, Dr. Abhishek Pandey, sir, for the honor. The vision of CWSIR is to empower, enable, and inspire the trend of research and innovation to learners with the right foundation of values and culture through academic excellence. For global perspective and to create an ecosystem for the holistic development of all stakeholders. Our mission is to provide an environment for research and innovation, encourage the research bent of learning that creates multivalent competencies in growing learners to enable them to becoming analytical leaders. Our commitments: CWSIR is committed to uplift the society by providing voice and platform to women who are in the field of research and social work, thus strengthening them nationally and globally. Empowering schools to eliminate the rural and the urban divide. Enhancing quality learning through sessions, igniting the spirit of innovation and research. To work towards achieving the United Nations SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, to create a harmonious society. International collaboration to work on common projects to give maximum learning exposure to the budding innovators. Our services: the society strives to empower and support every learner in the domain of innovation and research by providing a platform for the following: guidance to write theses and research proposal writing, guidance by experts to get original research papers published, assistance to get international patents, placements for researchers and for those who are involved in research, innovation, and academia. Provision of platform to demonstrate innovative practices in education, commerce, arts, science, and technology, and others as well. Recommending the eligible members for the UN talks and for conducting master training in schools, colleges, and universities around the globe. Curating international conferences, summits, quality sessions under our initiative. So our initiative, Meetex, organizes national and international conferences, seminars, symposiums, and quality workshops, academic curriculum assistance, and content writing. Meetex is recognizing and honoring the genuine contribution of individuals in diverse streams and disciplines with certified and authorized awards and honoris causa doctorate on the basis of the exceptional work. It proposes to introduce the International Journal of CWSIR in the near future. Innumerable strategies and projects to empower women are in the offing, developing numerous workshops and training sessions for girls in schools and colleges. So to wrap up, and last but not the least, personality grooming sessions, mentoring and coaching. Thank you. Namaste. Over to you, Mr. Nagarajan.
Thank you so much, ma'am. As a moderator, it is my duty to formally welcome and give my gratitude for accepting our invitation. And with that note, this is my immense pleasure to announce the world's best brains as the chief guest of honor and keynote speakers in World Education Summit, organized by Charles Waddell Society for Innovation and Research. We feel so blessed to listen to the talk of history creators in the context of education in this grand global summit. It is really great to be witnessing the enlightenment, bringing wisdom and an iconic talent together. I would like to thank Honorable Education Minister, Dr. Shri Dharmendra Pradhan, for accepting our invitation to be the chief guest of these 2 days World Education Summit. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation. I also thank Shri Anurag Thakur, Ministry of State, Finance and Corporate Affairs, Government of India, and Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal, Ministry of State for Parliamentary Affairs, Government of India, for accepting our invitation and deliver inaugural speech today and tomorrow. And I also would like to mention the Government of India supporting these 2 days mega event, the MSME, Government of India, and Ministry of Education, Government of India, and Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Government of India, and Department of Science and Technology. On behalf of CWSIR and my own behalf, I convey my sincere gratitude to all the government organizations for constantly supporting us to organize such a wonderful event for the benefit of faculty members as well as for the young research scholars to pursue their next level of education. With that small note, I will move on to today's agenda. I think we are waiting for our chief guest and guest of honor. So with that, meantime, I would like to invite the speakers to start the delegations. First of all, I would like to invite Dr. Sandeep Marwa, the Chancellor, AFT University Senior Academician, to start the session with his open talk.
Thank you very much, Nagarajan. Let me extend my heartiest thanks to Charles Walter, Council of Innovation and Research, for inviting me here and giving me this wonderful opportunity to be part of this beautiful board. Some of the most prominent educationists and speakers are here from all over the world. What a pleasure to be here with them on this evening. Let me start with 2 very powerful lines. कि सभी दिशाओं से शुभ सुंदर भाव विचार भरे नित अंतर पुण्य धरा बन जाए स्वर्ग ये मेरे यत्नों से करुणाकर. Let me explain to you this in English. Whether it is north, south, east or west, whether you're in India or abroad, whether you are on the top of the hill or you're standing at a seashore, whether you are in a lush green garden and looking at some colorful flowers, or maybe looking at the most beautiful woman on earth. But the fact is, there are 2 things which are much more beautiful than what you can see with your naked eyes. And these 2 things are your thinking and your feelings. And the best part is that both the things are right within you. On this very auspicious day, let's pray. Hey Lord, give me good thinking, give me good feelings so that I can do good deeds. And through my good karmas, I would love to convert this earth into heaven. This is what I believe. I'm sure you will also believe in the same. The best part is that the whole education system is based on these 2 very important words, the feelings and the thinking. Well, thanks to the government of India for coming out with a new education policy, which has given us ample opportunity to discuss, to have brainstorming session, to explore ourselves, to get into the details of, once again, into the system of education. And we have come out with large number of new and old things which we would love to repeat, discard, add, subtract, and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I'm happy that I've been part of more than 200 webinars in last almost 18 months and done enough brainstorming sessions. And now time has come that we should all get down to a job, right into the classroom, to our institutions, so that we can give best of the education to our students. Well, before we get into the large discussion by the experts from all over the world, let me put up the new definition of education to all of you. Well, we have read enough about education, but this time education has a different meaning for me. When I say education, it starts with E, and for me now, education means entertainment. It should be exciting and it should be energetic. This is very important. All what you've been doing it so far, I don't know, but now what is required, a thorough entertainment. It should be like an entertainment. People should enjoy the education, it should not be forced on you, or the teacher should not be agitated of delivering education. I mean, I've seen in 28 years in education, different moods, setups, emotions, teachers and students. So that's how I am coming to this nutshell. And it should be exciting because the education should be, the institution part should be so important that the student should be eager and anxious to come back to the institution next morning rather than skipping and bunking from the classes. Well, if this is the way we take it, trust me, you might need to change somewhere here and there the curriculum and the syllabus. But yes, you will be able to attract students back into the classroom in full strength. The D stands for dedication. When I say dedication, yes, the basic principle of punctuality, regularity, sincerity, they're very important, because without that, you cannot get into education system, nor you can actually receive the education. And that's D stands for dedication. All these three things, you don't have to put a label on your head that I'm a dedicated person. These things, these three things, your punctuality, regularity, and sincerity, they are enough to show that you are a dedicated teacher, you're a dedicated educator, you're a dedicated student. Very important. And D, of course, stands for discipline. And discipline is the key of this new education system. We have to bring back all that discipline back into the institutions so that we are in a position to deliver our best to our students. D also stands for a very strong determination, very important, because this is what is losing. Students are confused, teachers are confused, the system is confused. No, I think let's stick to something good and create a determination to reach to that destination. Well, when I say you means working under controlled circumstances. As very well said by Dr. Kusum, SDG is a very important word which is given to us by United Nations. Every government body, every private body, every institution must talk about SDG, the Sustainable Development Goals. That means we have to learn how to work in the given resources, in the given resources. Very important. You just cannot, I mean, when your fee is reasonable, you have to be, you have to work within that parameters. You cannot start playing with the rocket when you are only paid for a helicopter. So very important, we have to understand this. Students, they have to understand this, and that will also bring in the sense of saving into our students. When I say C stands for communication, very important. I mean, like it's the age of communication, and very important to reach to the students, to the mind and hearts of students, very important. And what you're using, the language, the words, the explanation, the vocabulary, all these things are going to matter now, because there's a lot which is available to the student more than the teachers, mind you. And teachers, they are still stuck to their old habits of explaining things in a much lengthier and probably in their own primitive methods. But students, they need to know the new method, new ways of communication. And C also stands for commitment. Very important. The commitment part is missing, unfortunately, from the whole society, not only in India, but all over the world. And that commitment we have to bring back to the classroom, to the institutions, to day-to-day affairs. And that can be only delivered to students through very strong stories and history and some wonderful case studies. And I'm sure students will understand what we mean commitment. A, of course, stands for being ambitious, very important. I mean, why Indian students all the time think about getting into a job rather than thinking of starting their own enterprise? So that ambition is to be created, that yes, you have capacity more than what you are actually thinking you have one. So that capacity and capabilities to be developed within these students so that they can jump for entrepreneurship rather than only looking for jobs. So that ambition is to be created. And who can do that? Only institution, trust me. More than their own parents, it's the institution which can create a huge ambition into the students. And if A also stands for, my dear friends, for attitude. If you hire the ambitions, then you have to have a very polite attitude. You have to be supporting. You have to be down to earth. You have to be simple. You have to be compassionate. And then only your ambitions are going to be fulfilled. The T stands for being tough. And very important, that is also. Our students, they get nervous the minute they get some kind of a complication or an unforeseen thing. They get nervous. They have no answer for that. I mean, it never happened in our case, at least with our generation. And they need counselors. They need consultancy. They need so many things for even a smallest thing possible. Well, that's on one side, okay, doesn't matter. But then they have to be developed the sense of taking decision. They're so undecisive. They're on their own. They can't take decisions for one or other thing. So that being tough is very important in the whole education system. T also stands for techno-savvy, which I mean, I need not to say, we have to thank to the pandemic, which has taught us how to be techno-savvy, and all the smallest and the biggest institutions, they become technically fit today, and we all are absolutely ready to face any these kind of circumstances. We know that we will be able to deliver education to our students through different modes and means. And I stands for information, as I earlier said, and information, there is a bombardment of information. Now, only thing is, the job of the institution is to guide the student to have best of the information possible from the best of the sources. And students should not get confused with the ample information which is freely available on his desk. So information need which can make him intelligent, and that intelligent that he should be in a position to create some innovative ideas. And Ollie, that's what I mean to me. And O stands for the overall development. There are still many institutions which still believe in chalk and talk, and I think that stage is over. So we have to bring in lots sort of workshops, seminars, symposium, interaction programs, festivals, visits, and whatnot, co-curricular activities, so that there should be a 360-degree development of the student when he's in school or college. And that's what is needed right now. And last but not the least is N. N speaks about the nationalism, being nationalist. You have to be patriotic, you have to love your country, you have to love your countrymen, and you have to build up that kind of a feeling for your nation, because then only you will be able to bring back a highest level of energy into you for your nation, for your work, and for your people. With all these words, I would love to recite two lines. कि जिस ओर चले हम मस्ती में, झुक जाए उधर अंबर भूतल, आजाद वतन के वाशिंदे, हर गीत हमारा है बादल, विविध प्रांत है अपनी अपनी भाषा के अभिमानी हम, लेकिन सबसे पहले दुनिया वालों हिंदुस्तानी हम. Well, I'm proud to say that I am Indian. Thank you very much for giving me this wonderful opportunity. I'm happy that you've been listening to me so patiently. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Professor, for your wonderful inaugural speech. You have given insight about the current education system. So it was a wonderful inaugural speech I ever had in my career. Thank you so much. With that, I call upon the next speaker of today's session, Professor Aisloni Walpato, Professor from Brazil. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you for the possibility to be here. Thank you to the possibility to join to so special minds around the world. And special minds could be innovative, so innovative. And what is innovation? How could we innovate in a classroom, inside four walls? Or when we talk about hybrid education, in just a screen, how could we touch the minds of our students? What can we do to transform, to motivate the learning? It is a serious question, very serious question. We have talking about skills, soft skills. We have talked about new methodologies, open methodologies that change students in protagonists of the process of learning. Is it enough? Well, education is the principle to be a good life, is the principle to have a better world, is the principle to build relationship, is the principle to be a plenty life. So what we can do, how to innovate in education. Skills, open methodologies, distance education technologies. What we can get, in fact, really to touch our students' mind. I say, that's not a simple answer, but it's possible for sure, it is. First of all, I think we have to do our education totally different from what our grandpa, our grandmas had, for sure. The education is still under hands of the teachers and professors and scientists of education. But we have to support new cognitive skills, new cognitive stimuli, new cognitive possibilities to our students, open different windows to, anyway, to transform the horizon in a colorful horizon. How could we do that? For sure, I don't know the answers. I don't have the answer totally, but we are looking for. And when we work in a net, in a summit like this, for sure, changing ideas, it is easier. It transforms the process in an easier way. Well, in Brazil, since 2017, we are doing the implementation of BNCC. It are a new possibilities to students. Instead of a grid of disciplines, we are transforming it in a course units with a flexibility possibilities to students make their options for each content they want to study. It is part of the process. It's part of the way to get students and conduct them to a new education. It's not easy. We have to change paradigms because what we know the Milk Way. Yes, I don't know if we have this planetary expression, but in Brazil we say that is the way the milkman percourse. How could we do that? Flexibilizing the process is a way to do that. Not easy, I say. Not easy, everyone say, because we offer usually red disciplines to our students. The way is done to do it as since ancient times we are doing, but we have to change it in a spread way, choosing everything, including the way we put our chairs inside the classroom, the way we have the blackboards, if we have blackboards, using smartphones as a window to world. Anyway, we don't have the answers, but we are looking for the answers, and it's part of the process. We recognize the cognitive skills are different. We no more in a logical society, but a new one, a digital society. And for a digital society, we need other solutions. I don't know if we are in the right way in Brazil, if BNCC is the right way, but we are trying nationally do the different way to our kids, to our students. And flexibilizing the process is a way to do that. Problems we have, strong problems, lack points, for sure. But we are trying, and that's part of the process. I am totally disponible for questions and answers. So I have to say thank you to listen to me, to listen to my ideas and what we are doing in Brazil. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your inspiring speech. It's time to acknowledge our sponsors and organizers on this the mega virtual event. Let me share my screen. So today and tomorrow we are going to have 2 days virtual mega event on World Education Summit. It is supported by Modern Group of Institution. Thank you so much. And this is our agenda of day 1. Today we are going to discuss about grassroots approach. And tomorrow we are going to discuss about journey towards new world in different perspective. And our sponsors, Charles Walter Council for Innovation and Research, Charles Walter Society for Innovation and Research, and our academic partner, Modern Group of Institution. And our special acknowledgement and gratitude to our Government of India, various organizations of Government of India, MSME, Ministry of MSME, Government of India, and Ministry of Education, Government of India, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Government of India, and Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, for their constant support and encouragement to organize such a wonderful event for the benefit of faculty and young research people. I would like to share the invitation which we have communicated to our Honorable Education Minister. This is for your kind information. So the president of our council has communicated and sent a official invitation to Education Minister, Honorable Sri Dharmendra Pradhan, to take part in this particular event. Sir has accepted our invitation, and he is the chairperson for today's event. Tomorrow he'll be going to address the gathering. Thank you so much. We'll move on to the our agenda point. Next, I call upon Dr. Bharat Rawal, Associate Professor from Gannon University, USA.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting and giving me opportunity to speak in this. Can you hear me? Is my voice is audible?
Yes, sir. Perfect, sir. Perfect, sir. You can proceed.
Thank you. So you know, the today like focus is more on education's the topic. The previous speaker also already talked so many wonderful things. So in perspective of US, and you know, US is leading the globe in education sector. What we do here differently than the rest of the world. So this is like main thing. So here is focus on like learning outcome, what students learn at the end of the class, at the end of the semester, at the end of the program. Okay, everything is calculated, everything is recorded. So which make like you can assess, you can have like you know, some measurable tools. You can make them and measure them, that where how you progress, what you did compared to your previous, how you did with compared to your colleague, how you did compared to a nationwide. Right? So all those things are really, I think I realize is very important in US education system, and I believe nowadays all over the world everybody is following the same strategy. So as an educator, like for me, like every day, it's not an easy job. Say every class is, challenging. Every need to be prepared. If you think that you're going to do a mundane thing every day, then you cannot be a good teacher. Okay, so we take responsibility what we teach. We take responsibility what we know. Okay, so we should not be pretended, that we know everything. And when we talk in the class, we need to tell them the fact, right? So many times our curriculum or our syllabus or those are very, very old, and the modern, since I'm in the technology world, I teach technology classes. So anything we teach is like outdated. And many things changed, many more reality came there. So we need to keep, the students are more advanced. They try to Google much faster than us. And it's always also again challenging. A student will keep challenging you by Googling. And again, you need to respond and how to tackle those situations. Those are like really important aspects for the modern teacher. So in nutshell, in academia, like a previous speaker also said that we face every day, the very challenging, and still we try to deliver same good lecture in class. We might have very sad situations we are facing, or still we need to go and deliver. We don't want to reflect what from where we are coming to the class. Okay, we want to deliver best of us. So this is the scenario. Even though there is huge turmoil going in our life, in our inside, and in our face reading, we try to make that okay. We are calm, quiet, and deliverable. This is the face of today's teacher. This is required actually. It's not, so if you're feeling angry or anxiety in class, people will complain, the student will complain, and you'll be kicked out from academia. So this is somehow like, we are in this world. And also not only the teaching, we may be boiled down with many other internal issues, internal politics. Okay, politics is everywhere. This politics may be for competitions. This politics may be a promotion. This politics may be staying top of the world, staying number one positions. Right. So you face a lot of those issues, and always I came from Indian culture, India, and so we follow our traditional the learning process, what we learn, Gurukul mechanisms. We trust, we respect our teachers, and we follow, and I think it's worked very well. And so far, like as I remember, my high school, middle school teachers, still they are connected with me. This is almost like 50 years I came out from schools, and still they know me. So this some kind of connection is very important, like in educations. So just going, coming, giving the lectures and get out from the class. But you need to, every class, you need to take opportunity and make lifelong impact on students' career. So this is what the last word I want to say. And thank you. I think there's many more learned speakers are here. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful speech. Next, I call upon Dr. Nishant Mehta, CA Mumbai, to share his views on today's education and future perspective. Next, I call upon Dr. Megha Sharma, Founder and Managing Director, the Empower All Foundation, Mumbai. Ma'am, over to you.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Thank you, Nagarajan. And I thank all of you for giving me an opportunity to share my insights for the students and the youth. It's really an honor to be a part of this World Education Summit 2021. Aryan Khan walks free after nearly a month in jail for few intimate chats about banned stuff. The bad usage of social media, and look at what this has done to him. In the last 1.5 years, we all have seen the power of technology and its usage by not only us, but our small kids and the youths. Have you ever realized a year has gone by? In fact, more than a year has gone by, and our kids have spent their education time on virtual platforms. Yes, that's the new norm these days. As per the new education policy 2020, the major transformational reforms in the educational sector, which I would like to highlight in the use of technology, are educational planning, teaching, learning and assessment, administration and management, regulation of self-disclosure, and minimal human interface. I repeat, minimum human interface. Increasing access for disadvantaged groups, e-content in regional languages, virtual labs. I repeat, virtual labs. National Education Technology Forum, digitally equipped schools, teachers, and of course, the students. These are the new education norms by our national education policy. Today, I would like to discuss about the social media and technology used by the students, and would like to share knowledge on how we need to manage our kids and the youth due to excess usage of the technology. The question that always comes to my mind when I think about teens, social media, and technology is, what will they text next? I'm sure this must be the question in everybody's mind, for their kids, for their friends, for the youths. We've seen many IDs getting blocked, including Twitter and Facebook, and has been highlighted all over social media. Many influencers got blocked because they didn't know what they are texting. I'll give a screen challenge to all our viewers. Please open up your mobiles. Take a moment to total how much time you spend daily looking at your mobile screen. I request everybody to open your mobile screen and see how much time you're spending. Just check average screen time. Aren't the results shocking?
4 to
This
5
is
hours.
just mobile screen time. And we may be spending time on laptops, on TV, on somebody else's screen, or maybe tabs also, which is not calculated here. I'll give you some shocking figures. Before that, there is a question that tingles onto my mind always. If I, as a professional, is spending so much time on the screen, what about my youth? What about the school kids? I have seen, especially the school kids and the college kids, they are using three laptops at one time. One, they are using for games. Second, they are using for their online classes. And third, just to do chatting and social media. So imagine the screen time that they all have. The numbers that I will share with you would be really shocking. Kids today are growing very fast. 70% of the teens have cell phones in a country like India. We are still not developed, but still 78% of the teens have cell phones, and almost half of them own smartphones, which includes some kids from the underprivileged section as well. 1 in 4 are self-friendly internet users. 23% of the teens also have a tab. 81% teens use social networking sites. Now this figure you must realize. 8 to 18 years old kids, they devote average of 7 hours 38 minutes to use in entertaining media across a typical day. 7 hours and 38 minutes for entertainment screen time only, plus their education time. 100% of EHS students have laptop and an access to the internet. Isn't it shocking? Aren't we seeing that our youth is becoming a slave to the screens? The most commonly apps that are being used by the youths are WhatsApp, Snapchat, Instagram, Viber, Facebook, TikTok, which is right now banned in India, but there are other apps which are like TikTok, Pinterest, most favorite, Facebook, and Twitter. What social media are they using? As I said, most favorite, Facebook. 80% of the kids are using Facebook. Only 9% of the kids are using LinkedIn. Only 9%. Instagram is also now picking up, which is at 53% of the usage. Google, which is the most searched site and everybody uses it is still at only 34%. Twitter, 36%. Pinterest, 16%. Snapchat, 46%. Then MySpace goes at 19% and Tumblr goes at 22%. Imagine the screen time and the apps these kids are using. I will briefly share what kind of posts they are making. 92% people use their own photographs and their real name. That means there are some fake IDs as well, which is very dangerous. The interests that they show on books, movies, music are 85%, which is a good number. At times, kids are shy of using their school name, posting their school name. It stands only at 76%. Imagine. They are studying, they are learning from a school, but still they shy from writing their school or the education firm where they're studying. 83% only share their birth dates. So only 72% of the kids share where they come from, their city, town, or wherever they live. 66% are sharing their relationship status also, which may be single or if they are in relationship. The teens are so open now. They do share at times their email IDs, which stands at 53%. So the kind of sharing that they do is still not 100%. That means they are not sharing 100% genuine stuff. There are some kids who hide their identities and they become stalkers, or they do any kind of stuff which is not good. which is dangerous. So what do we know about teens? They are constantly trying to define themselves. They crave positive feedback only to help them see how their identity fits into their world. They use social media for their feedback, but they are looking in a dangerous place. I will just share how it is harmful. The danger exists in the possibility of a very public rejection because negative feedback is there for anyone and everyone to see. Another danger is that teens ask for feedback without learning first, and not everyone will respond in a supportive way. After all, everybody is not a parent. Even parents give a negative feedback at times, but for the betterment of their kids. What we can do in order to teach our children how to seek feedback and from genuine sources, parents should start early by helping their kids identify trustworthy sources. Most importantly, parents need to reinforce that the most influential voice should come from within. I repeat, the most influential voice should come from within and not from the social media feedbacks. We must engage our teens within the family. We have to engage with them in a meaningful conversation about internet usage. We should talk to them, we should talk to the deans, we should talk to the counselors as well. Validate your teens' reality and their need to be connected. Engage your child in drafting the rules for the family. For example, guidelines for use, consequences for breaking those rules. Model appropriate use of technology. Minimize texting. Don't use cell phone, laptops at meals. First, we have to follow this. We should not use them, and then we have to ask them to follow this. We should not use cell phones while driving as well. Our kids follow us. The teens must know that they have the right, the parents have the right to check the laptop and phones. When we were young, we never had them for ourselves. And we know they are at a very tender age. So they must know that parents have the right to check the laptops, tabs, and mobile phones. WhatsApp or social media are okay, and what are not. That you need to follow and you need to know their passwords. What are the responsibilities of being an online user? Are you have to protect your privacy, and we need to ensure that. And they should not be engaged in the cyberbullying. What are we worried about? Invading in kids' privacy, not feeling comfortable with being on social media with them, that they have secret accounts. We are really worried about these points. Just as you would establish ground rules and due diligence in person with your kids, there is a need to do small things or even more with the internet. There are many parental concerns. 81% are worried about how much advertisers can learn about their kids through their behavior online. 72% are worried their kids is interacting with people they don't know online. 70% are worried about how their online activity might affect their future academic or employment opportunity. 60% are worried about kids' reputation online. Imagine, at the tender age, we are all worried about their reputation online. I am suggesting few of the apps to protect your kid. Canary, Mama Bear Child Tracker app, Rapid Protect, Progressive Snapshot, My Mobile Watchdog, Mobile Spy, Text Guard, Web Watcher. I will repeat all the apps once again. Canary, Mama Bear Child Tracker app, Rapid Protect, Progressive Snapshot, My Mobile Watchdog, Mobile Spy, Text Guard, and Web Watchers. So, dear fellow teachers, educationists, and parents, let us spare some time for the youth and make sure that the social media is a boon for them and not become a disaster for them. Let's all take an oath to make sure that we will spare time from our busy schedule to impart good upbringings to our youth and students. We will make sure that our students and kids and the youth actually use the good power of social media and bring a silver lining to their career. I would rather say, let's strive for a diamond lining for their careers. The school may open school soon. Many have already opened for the higher classes, but for the lower classes also, they may be opening very soon. The kids will be back to school. But my friends, e-learning will never go. It will never stop. It was there before COVID. It will be there. In fact, it will be extensively there post-COVID now. We will still have hybrid schooling. The technology of e-learning will still be there, and the kids are going to be exposed more and more towards the social media and technology. So let's join hands and help our students and the youth to help them use social media in a better way. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Megha Sharma, for your wonderful conversation. The topic which you have covered today is the need of the hour. It's a burning topic now. So you have covered the various aspects of social media and how it is connected with today's education. It was a wonderful discussion. Thank you so much on behalf of CWSIR.
Thank you, Nagaraj.
Before I call upon the next speaker, I would like to share the few conversation which we had it with Ministry of Education on this wonderful meet. This is for your kind reference and information. This is the conversation we had it with the Secretary of Education, Minister, regarding this the grand 2 days educational summit. SAR will be joining tomorrow, the second day of summit. The next one, the another conversation, the screen sort of thank you so much, Government of India, various ministry for their constant support and encouragement for making this wonderful event possible today. This is the invitation which we have communicated to our Honorable Education Minister. So once again, I convey my sincere gratitude to all the sponsors and supporters for making this wonderful event possible. Now it's time to invite the next speaker of today's agenda. Dr. Nishant S. Mehta, CA, Mumbai. Sir, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to share my view and express, and it's an honor to be part of the World Education Summit 2021. Suddenly, the world in the last 1 year had changed from physical to virtual. And this has affected not only us, but also our youth or student. They have been jumped into the Zoom world, team meeting, Google Meet, and what are they doing? The major reform in the new education policy, school education, curriculum to integrate 21st century skill, mathematical thinking, and scientific tempo. No rigid separation between arts and science, between co-curricular and extracurricular activity, between vocational and academic streams. Gender inclusion and reduction in curriculum to core concepts. Well, this is a new world. Before we understand the new changes, let's gear our students, our kids to be ready for the new world. Let me ask you one question. What is the most global fear in the world? You can use the chat box. What is one thing which fears you? Survey and research results show that most people are terrified of speaking in front of a live audience. And this is in the list of the top 10 fears globally. Chances are that in at some point, people have to speak in public. Well, this can be intimidating. The benefit of being able to speak well outweigh any perceived fear. And this is what I want to bring to the people and the student and the youth. As per the new curriculum, as per the new changes in the educational policy, you need to be a good communicator, a good speaker. A fear of public speaking is common for everyone across all age. You, and me, and everyone. During high school, giving presentation and talking in front of groups become a regular activity. And it will happen more when you get to the college. And because of the new curriculum, this is going to be a regular format. If you're a student struggling with anxiety about public speaking, here are the few things I would like to give you to overcome this fear and rock your next presentation. Very important thing as a student is know your audience. A big part of the public speaking is connecting with the audience, and you cannot really connect with the audience if you don't know something about the people in it. If you're presenting in front of the students, teacher, spend some time thinking about the people in the audience and what they want to hear. And this is what help you to create the connect. Creating a connect will always give you more and more confidence. Get comfortable with the environment. Take a few minutes, take a pause. Scope where you're speaking. It will help you become more and more confident. If it is a classroom you spent countless hours in, you still may not be used to being in the teacher's spot. Stay in front of the podium or in the virtual one in front of the camera, right across your screen, and get a sense of the room. Think this is a virtual podium and you will see how the layout from the new view. Third very important point, know your purpose. There is always a reason for giving a speech, why you're communicating, what you want to communicate, a purpose for wanting to communicate. Very important to reflect on the purpose for your presentation so you can tailor your measures and take points accordingly. Talk to your teacher if you need some advice. When you speak, when you practice more and more, your material will make it easier to remember and you stay on the point. And practice is essential because you get used to delivering a speech in a low pressure situation before you have to give to the right audience. And if you can manage it, don't read from word to word. This get boring for the listener. It's okay if it is the first time speaking. You need practice, but you will get out of this habit. learn from the people, learn from a mentor, learn from the teacher, people around. Listen to TEDx video, listen to TEDx talk. You will find new way, the format to speak, and it will help you out to improvise on your own styling. You can watch highly quality presentation online. Sixth, very important point. It's always said that you need to love yourself. Similarly, encourage yourself. Most of the anxiety of public speaking comes from fear that you're going to speak something wrong or disappoint the audience. Don't worry. Without meaning to whatever you are negative, a self-talk will increase your anxiety. So make sure a negative self-talk should not be there. Instead of putting yourself down, make yourself esteem higher. Try telling yourself that you're confident, you will do a good job. And this will help you to make sure how much anxiety can disappear when you think positively. Show confidence, even if you don't feel it. When you are delivering a speech or you're communicating with anything, you feel a little bit anxiety. But when the best part is when you have a confidence, whether you feel it or not, even if you make a mistake or lose the train of thought, recover and keep on going. Your speech, only you know. The content, you know. The audience never know the content. So don't fear that you're losing something or you've forgotten something. Let the flow go on. A small mistake never makes a difference. The main important thing is to keep on going. Don't even stress. Share your personality. When you're worried, it's a little bit awkward and foreign. Sometimes you fumble, goosebump on your hand, and you loosen up and you feel that I cannot. You try to lose the eye contact. Don't do that. Sometimes if you fear that you have lost something or you're losing the confidence, take a pause, smile to the audience smile back. And that gives you confidence and you start from back. Don't ever think there is a mistake. Let the mistake go. Despite following all this great speech, you may still important, you may miss an important point and make a blunder. Instead of thinking about the blunder, let it go and tell yourself every speech, everything I speak always makes sense. It will create an impact to the audience. I come across a very wonderful platform which is known as Toastmaster internationally. It's an amazing club for the students. They have a cable club for the student below 18. And for the youth, always welcome your 18 plus group, which is known as Toastmasters. Toastmaster is a public speaking platform or US-based organization, non-profit, which help you become a better communicator and better speaker. So what are you waiting for? Join me in this journey and make sure our youth become more confident speaker, communicator, and leaders so they can act to the new world, the new changes in the technology and in the education reform, where you don't have a difference between the curriculum, but what you want to do, you can do with more passion, more confidence, and more self-growth. Thank you for giving him an opportunity to share about public speaking. Over to the esteemed Nagarajan sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for your presence, and we are grateful to you. Next, I call upon Dr. Rania Lambo, a dynamic educationist and face of social media, to share her views on future of education. Ma'am, over to you.
Well, greetings from Greece. Very honored and excited to be invited today to this World Education Summit organized by Charles Water Society for Innovation Research. And we are obviously in the age of the fourth industrial revolution, and the fourth industrial revolution is changing the world around us with artificial intelligence, with robotics, with big data, Internet of Things. And the main challenges that are related to the exponential growth of digital tools that include robots, communication systems, and associated energy consumption, or that the impact on jobs and industry that these tools are creating is huge. However, they also present huge opportunities to tap because we need highly skilled, but at the same time, flexible, emotionally and socially intelligent professionals that can solve tomorrow's problems already from today. So futurizing education for building a workforce for Industry 4.0, we need a more robust professional framework. Education plays an important role in ensuring the skill readiness of the labor force. General education as well as vocational education will have a critical role to play in making this labor force industry ready. And to take full advantage of this opportunity created by advanced technology, we need a similar revolution in education. So this calls for developing Education 4.0 for students and teachers that addresses the needs for the fast developing world around us. Unfortunately, in most schools and colleges, we still teaching subjects in traditional ways with same old course content. So any discussion on the future of work should go hand in hand with discussion of the future of curriculum and also about those who eventually will deliver it, teachers and students. In this education system of the future, of course, the role of teachers is changing. It's going more to be more facilitator, guide, and mentor. And this will require a radical transformation in their approach to focus more on outcome-based teaching instead of continuing with traditional ways. And this transformation also must include key areas such as employability, student experience, research excellence, societal impact, and benefit for the industry. Today's learner also does not need instructor-led educational models, but wishes to engage through multiple sources of knowledge at his own pace. So we are faced with the challenge of redesigning the curriculum to keep up with the evolution of skills required to solve problems, to innovate and succeed. Because as a society, we're failing, I think, to meet that challenge, and consequently, we fail to adequately prepare the next generation for the future. So how will future generations thrive in this changing landscape? How can education and training providers keep pace with this unprecedented level of change? I think there are three levels. First of all, content. The content, as far as the content is concerned, here we need, of course, to upgrade the technical side of the curriculum to accommodate the learning of next generation robotics, of editing, manufacturing, smart materials. But at the same time, we need to incorporate non-technical disciplines into the curriculum, such as communication, project management, arts, marketing, in order to develop cross-cutting competencies and a mindset beyond technical expertise. And of course, we need to pay special attention to questions of ethics, social inclusion, diversity, and sustainability. It means that we need to incorporate sustainable development goals into our lessons. That means also that we need to offer a holistic view of education and also teach students how to acquire new skills as needed in the new post-COVID era. As far as the learning environment is concerned, we need to apply problem, project-based learning, inquiry-based learning, challenge-based learning to stimulate learners to work on challenging real-life problems for which there are no established answers. Encourage learners to contextualize their theoretical learning in relation to how it will be useful in the world around them. Knowledge is not connected to reality. And instead of focusing on standardized thinking, correct answers, and objectivity of judgment, we need to create a learning environment that would stimulate creativity, forming of own opinion, and divergent interpretation. So create also a culture that accepts mistakes, potential failures, and develop the ability in students to turn those failures into valuable learning experiences. Create environments that can offer experiences to relevant real-world conditions, working conditions, and also encourage collaborative learning and stimulate technology-enhanced, technology-enabled learning with the use of all this treasure we have of digital tools. The third part concerns the access of collaboration, because moving towards the paradigm of lifelong learning, educational institutions also need to evolve and occupy new roles in the ecosystem. It also implies the evolution of existing and emergence of new collaboration patterns. Different types of collaboration are needed in order to ensure a multitude of experiential opportunities, including collaboration with companies, manufacturers, technology providers, startups, other educational institutions via joint platforms, thematic networks, peer-to-peer learning, supporting structures, industry associations, cluster organizations, similar, governments, community. And also that means that we need to further increase the collaboration between interesting universities in terms of both volume and diversity of collaboration forms, internships, apprenticeships, mentoring, project banks, think tank competitions, summer schools. We need to acknowledge the role of industry partners as educational, research, and employment partners, and ensuring their engagement in the full students' learning experience, including strategic development. Create more opportunities for exchanging experiences with other educational institutions, facilitate peer-to-peer learning, create effective learning ecosystems that engage all key stakeholder groups, including education and training providers, industry, policymakers, supporting structures, broader community. And of course, we need to shift from human-machine interaction towards human-machine collaboration as an evolving collaboration form. Because we are in the threshold of the fifth industrial revolution, and humans go along with machines. Students and teachers are not machines. They're humans, so we need to focus also on this dimension, especially on social emotional learning. And apart from this, we are also in the COVID era. So we have seen how from the onset of the pandemic, teachers were immediately tasked with implementing distance learning modalities, often without insufficient guidance, training, or resources. Actually, teachers were largely unprepared, and even in context with adequate infrastructure, many educators lack the basic ICT skills. So this crisis has highlighted that both initial and in-service teacher education are in need of reform to better train teachers in new methods of education delivery. So this crisis has stimulated also innovation within the education sector. We have seen many innovative approaches. And as Albert Einstein said, crisis is a great blessing for people and nations because the crisis brings progress. And creativity, says Einstein, comes from anxiety as the day comes from the dark night. And I strongly believe that this crisis is a great resetter of economy, society, and education, opportunity to bring forward long-awaited reforms for the development of education community skills. So this COVID pandemic aroused the need for optimizing the role of teachers, since teachers are the agents of change in education. And also this showed the needs for change because it requires teachers to develop survival skills in order to survive and thrive in a certain world, the new normal, such as flexibility, adaptability, resilience, empathy. And of course, we have new demands. We need a curriculum redesign, as I said before. We need hybrid learning, blended learning now, and lifelong learning. Long-standing literacies such as reading and writing are not sufficient anymore. We need new literacies such as technological literacy, data literacy. Why data literacy? Because students are bombarded by an ocean of information, so they need a filter in order to filter this information. They need to develop the critical skills. And also human literacy, as I said before. So education as an undeniable human right is a bedrock of equal and just inclusive societies and key driver of sustainable development. We need to strengthen the resilience of education systems in order to respond to immediate challenges. And of course, a strong educational system should promote key competencies, including solid basic skills, digital, transversal, green, and other life skills which provide strong foundation for resilience, lifelong learning, lifelong employability, social inclusion, active citizenship, and personal development. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Rani Alambo, for accepting our invitation. Next, I would like to introduce the guest of honor of today's event, Engineer Anand Kumar, founder, Super 30 partner. Anand Kumar is an Indian mathematics educator, best known for his Super 30 program, which he started in Patna, Bihar in 2002, and which coaches underprivileged students for JEE Advanced, the entrance examination for the Indian Institute of Technology. By 2018, 422 out of 510 students had made it to the IITs, and Discovery Channel showcased his work in a documentary. Kumar has spoken at MIT and Harvard about his programs for students from the underprivileged sections of Indian society. Kumar and his school have been the subject of several swear campaigns, some of which have been carried in Indian media sources. His life and work are portrayed in the 2019 film Super 30, where Akshay Kumar is played by Hrithik Roshan, where Kumar is played by Hrithik Roshan. On 8th November 2018, Anand Kumar was honored with the Global Education Award 2018 by Malabar Gold and Diamonds in Dubai. His efforts in the field of education are considered pioneering. Anand Kumar has been felicitated in the US with Education Excellence Award in 2019 by the Foundation for Excellence in Education at a function in San Jose, California. Anand Kumar received Mahavir Award in Chennai. I think Sir will be the right person to comment about today's agenda. I request Sir to share his thoughts on today's topic with his experience. Sir, over to you. Anand Kumar, sir, over to you. Sir, are you there? Are you there? Okay, meantime, I will call upon the next speaker, Dr. Unnat Pandit, Professor IP Innovation and Entrepreneurship at JNU, formerly Dean ABVS ME JNU Program Director AIM, Niti Aayog, and member IPR TT OSD to CIM, Head IP. Now I request Dr. Unnat Pandit to share his views on past, present, and future of education. Dr. Unnat Pandit, are you there? Okay, we'll move on to the next speaker. Now I call upon Dr. Rahul Kumar Shukla. Sir, are you there? Dr. Rahul Kumar. Okay, now I call upon Dr. Shofi Nubani, the pillar of our organization, the dynamic educationist, founder, Circle of Creative Masters Institute, ESA. Ma'am, I request you to share your views on present, past, and future of education. Over to you, ma'am.
Yes, sorry, I was trying to get off mute. Hello, and thank you so much for the invite. And I'm so grateful to be part of this beautiful educational summit that we can all gain insights and be able to pivot better in such challenging times that we're facing, the transitioning from where we are and what we are bridging to go to requires a lot of attention from the educators and also school systems and organizations and summits like we are doing, and the attention of governments, so that we may flourish and allow the generational gap between our youngest and the new fast speed of technology that is coming upon our eldest to be minimized through education. And as a creative mindset strategist and consultant, my very core values in this area goes back to the importance of creativity and optimization of a creative mindset in classrooms. And without that, we are not going to be able to go to the next level of research, to write topics, and then for innovation as well. The thinking styles, the mindsets, the skill sets that we need to develop. Professor Rania Kambur brought a lot of pointers that I would like to share and some others. So I don't want to repeat a lot of information for our limited time, so we may all gain the maximum insights that can be most useful at this time. During a creative process, there is always the thinking and the process. And when that is applied into a classroom setting with mindfulness on creating environment to support that, emotional and social skills, as mentioned, are extremely important. And as a certified emotional intelligence coach, I am recognizing and seeing that this is being a challenge for many of our youth at this time. They are more comfortable in texting or writing than in-person communication. So the encouragement of creating a platform for youth to be able to speak and express and process their feelings through expression and communication is going to be extremely important. As very much said, the four main skills that are needed in the 21st century are communication, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking. With that being said, how are we going to enhance those skill sets within classrooms, but mainly to the educators and the leaders and the thought leaders of these organizations and classrooms, so that we may collaborate on a global level? Because of technology, we are able to all meet from different parts of the world and different times. And this is going to be the future of our children, if not faster than what we are expecting. So we need to prepare them and protect them at the same time. So as mentioned, using technology, not as a disaster and catastrophe, but as an asset to victory, overcoming challenges that they may be able to assist their learning skills and understanding. There was a gap research that was done, and it implemented children and in schools that were having creative skills and transformational technology added within the way of study, were better at and more successful in problem solving, solution finding, critical thinking, also connecting topics and concepts. And isn't that something what our future needs? Is to really have leaders that are able to be in their own self-concept, feeling powerful and confident, building that self-concept in areas of the ideal self, self-image, and self-confidence. And that is referring to Carl Rogers' work, which I really admire. And I feel that little bits and pieces, when we are gathering them to the betterment of all, and that is where we all succeed. Cultural intelligence, cultural harmony, creative and curiosity intelligence, to really encourage that, to replace fear and anger with curiosity, to have those as really taught values, so that the children may feel psychological safety when they tap into that. Because the mind works in patterns and association and linking. So when we are able to provide tools that is going to make it more accessible, easy, that supports that feedback is always positive, that failure is only feedback, then we may grow to other levels faster, easier, and more connected. I don't want to take much of anybody's time, but I do like to end with a quote from Dr. Edward Bono, who was the father of lateral thinking. And it says, there is no doubt that creativity is the most important human resource of all. That without it, there will be no progress, and we will be forever repeating the same patterns. So I encourage every one of us to really find a common denominator in areas of collaboration, including countries and governments, to cross-educate the youth and the educators through summits like this and real-life events, to bring the practical part of actually having that experience that will allow us to pivot in a very good and sustainable way. Thank you, and many blessings to all of you. Namaste.
Thank you, Dr. Sophie Niban. You have clearly highlighted about 21st century skills. Really, your deliberation was very much useful for the younger generation. Once again, I convey my sincere gratitude to you. Next, I call upon Dr. Bob Chott, cognitive neuroscientist, USA. I request Chott to share his views on future education.
Great, thank you. And every one of the speakers here have given the different parts that's necessary in order for the future of education to be able to move forward. And I'm going to add in my part, and I'm going to be talking about positive psychology and flow. And really an important component of that is engagement. 4 years ago, I interviewed a young lady on my podcast. And what she did in terms of innovation really intrigued me. Her name is Samira Mehta, and she created a board game called Coder Bunnies. It's not a game that's on computers and everything, but it's an actual board game that teaches young kids to senior citizens how to computer code. And it was really amazing in terms of what she did. And about 3 years before that, she started prototyping her game, and then she would test it until she ended up perfecting it. So the year before I interviewed her, and this is about 5 years ago, she was recognized by then President Obama, by the city of San Francisco. She teaches computer programming in workshops around the San Francisco Bay Area. An amazing lady. And she also was a keynote speaker at the Women in Tech Conference. And since then, Samira's been featured in Time Magazine and in Vogue Magazine in India. She's an international keynote speaker. Her initial company is a multi-million-dollar company. And I'll get more in terms of about her at the end. But I want to get into flow. So the founder of flow, the guy who actually created the concept of it, is a gentleman of Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. If you were to look at his name, it'd be very hard for you to actually pronounce. But he's been involved in flow for over 50 years. Sadly, this past week, Mihai passed away, and it just kind of broke my heart finding out about that. But his research has now moved forward. There's been other people like Stephen Kotler who's been able to move it forward and more. And the concept of flow is about engagement. It's about getting people focused. And a way flow works, and you may have heard of like being in a zone or in a state of flow. So flow state is that avenue, that specific avenue right in this area between anxiety and boredom. So boredom being on a low part, anxiety being on a high part. And in order to engage in a flow, you have to have challenges. very important. What Samira created in her board game was a series of challenge to take a person from where they're at to the next level, to next level, to the next level. And while we are in the state of flow, there's specific neurochemicals that are actually created. And those neurochemicals, norepinephrine, so that's a stress hormone. Yet with norepinephrine, it engages the area of concentration, of being highly focused. Then there's dopamine, and I know that me and Dr. Sophie, we talked about dopamine in terms of our laughter mindset workshops and everything, and as well as some of these other neurochemicals. So dopamine, and it's actually, I would call it the naughty hormone in terms of it gets us to become addicted to certain things. And yet it's very important. It's a very, very important hormone for learning. Endorphins are those neurochemicals. So if you're engaged in an activity, and let's say you actually stub your toe, well, you're not going to feel it because endorphins being released while you're engaged in the activity will actually cause the pain to go away. So it's kind of related to morphine in that sense. And then there's oxytocin. So oxytocin is the bonding hormone. So this is like when people are engaged and they're very close. So we see this with couples, especially right at the beginning. And then the next one is serotonin, is also known as the romantic hormone, but it's very, very important component of flow. And then there's anandamide. So that is the neurochemical that helps us to stay like, it's an anti-anxiety hormone, should I say. It's also called the bliss hormone, and it's probably out of all these hormones, it's the one that has the shortest span within our body. So in the state of flow, when you have all these hormones coming in together, that's when you start creating maximum flow. It's also the maximum state of learning. This is the most highly engaged part. When we can create flow in the classrooms, we're going to have the most engagement of anything that we do. Going back to what Samira created in terms of games, and there's been talk here about people playing video games and everything like that. Why do people stay engaged in video games? Why do they eliminate all the distractions around them, and they're so focused in terms of the video game itself? They're engaged in a state of flow. They're leveling up, they're leveling up, they're leveling up, they're leveling up. They're being challenged at next level, next level, next level. There's an area called gamification. So gamification is about taking game technology, like video game technology, taking game technology and applying it into our lives. So whether it's at work, whether it's in our educational system, and so forth. When we can gamify our education and challenge these children to go to that next level. See, they may be bored or they may be too anxious. We have to really understand the kids in a classroom to start to engage them in much, much more. Because if we don't engage them in terms of what we're teaching, they're going to zone out. They're going to be distracted. They're going to grab their smart device because you're not challenging them enough. As when this thing goes off, it releases dopamine into the body. So what are they going to gravitate towards? That they're going to go here, there, everywhere. And we have the pseudo ADHD that's being created by these devices and then social media and more. So what we need to do is now use the process of gamification to get children engage in a state of flow. And I can guarantee you, when you start doing that, they're going to be really wanting to learn more. When they're in a flow, they will be learning. When you engage them, they're going to want more and more and more and more within that. Now, getting back to Samira, and I told you that she has her first company, Coder Bunny. She now has 2 other companies. She has another game company, and then also she teaches entrepreneurial education on top of that. And I told you that I interviewed her 4 years ago, and she started prototyping her game about 7 years ago. Well, how about if I told you that recently Samira turned 13 years old, and that she started prototyping her game at 6 years old. And when I interviewed her, she had just turned 9. And what that tells me is that our children, when you can engage them, they're willing to take it to the next level, and they'll become the creators in our society. I interviewed her parents, and they're both from India, even though they live up in the San Francisco area. They're both from India. Her father's an engineer, and her mother has an MBA. And Samira hired her mother from a top tech company in the Bay Area to become her business advisor. So again, I know that this may have been a little surprising when I talked about Samira being so young in terms of what she's doing, and yet when you can engage and you allow the children to have a sense of autonomy as well, that they need to have rules and flow. There's always rules set in place, but there's goals they're going after, so you have the goals. So when you can have children doing that, but don't take away, don't try to control them like traditional education has done, but allow them to flourish. Very important part of positive psychology is being able to flourish. When you allow them to flourish, they're going to grow, they're going to blossom. And that's exactly what her parents allowed Samira to do. And she blossomed to such an amazing girl who's recognized worldwide now. So I'm going to leave you with that, and you can look her up, Samira Mehta, and she'll actually grab your heart as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bob. Thank you so much for your time and support to make this event a mega success. Next, I call upon Shanti Suliara, educationist from Greece, to share his views on education.
Hello all. Once again, nobody can pronounce my name. My name is Xanthi Chouliara. I'm from Greece.
Sorry.
But it's okay. I get used to it. The main reason I'm here is to share with you some important issues, because we still have Corona-19, even no one of us likes it, but it's here. What that means? That means that we had a lot of lessons for the challenges faced, for example, by the Greek Ministry of Education in my case, but from many ministries of education from all over the world. First of all, we realized that we have unpreparedness of our educational systems to provide remote learning, and we still have it. After 2 years, we are in the same point exactly. They didn't improve it, I don't know why, but if you see the things and today's reality, we need to face it again and again. Also, we have weak educational infrastructure, even if we don't like it, and we need to provide things that in a better way. Inequality in accessing the internet, and also teachers' unpreparedness to switch to remote learning. I'm a primary school head teacher, and I know very well how it works and how many of those challenges we had to face those last years, 2 last years. To achieve this transformation, this is the only way to get rid of all those problems. We should exert effort to, first of all, to capitalize on IT. Secondly, to provide training for teachers. Then to review assessment methods, not to keep the old ones. Today's reality is different, so we need new ones. To engage in a comprehensive digital transformation, build effective partnerships, and this is the most important part, unlearn the old educational strategies and relearn in order to be in line with recent developments as well as with labor market requirements. We need to follow today's reality. Also, COVID-19's global impact on education, in a few words, is, according to UNESCO's research during 2020, in the short term, the positive impact, increased attention and appreciation to distance learning systems. It was something that we didn't know it, the most of us. Growing appreciation and understanding for teachers' role in the community and provision of technical development opportunities related to distance learning for teachers. In Greece, most of the parents, they say that now we understand your role because we had to guide our kids at home how to follow your lessons. Usually they think that it's a work, okay, everybody can do it. No, it's a very difficult role. And now all the parents, they know how it works. Establishing regional and international partnerships in the field of technology. We had a lot of time to use technology, so we did it. The negative impact in the short term is that the existing gap in distance learning implementation on a national and international levels. We have that gap, we have to accept it. Variation of students' academic attainment based on the ability of educational institutions and countries to provide distance learning. We didn't have equality. Not the same chances and opportunities to everyone. Also, negative impact on students, teachers, and parents' quality of life during lockdown. A lot of family fights, a lot of family problems, a lot of financial problems, and of course, a lot of educational problems. In my school, only the 60% of our pupils had the chance to participate in our online learning. All the others, they had to stay back and to wait till the day that our schools will open again. This is a huge damage to our educational system. And it's only one of the millions schools. In the long term, the positive impact is increasing the scope and reach of education to all segments of society, redefining the role of schools and developing assessment policies. For example, in Greece, it's the first time that they are trying to build an assessment policy. Let's see what is going to happen. Developing innovative models for higher education and preparing students for new jobs. Establishing partnerships between the public and private sectors. A good and impressive example is Erasmus Plus projects. They created bridges between the public and the private sectors. And till now, it's a great step of our educational system in a national, European, and international way. The negative impact in the long term is the possible inequality related to educational services provided to students. Decreasing academic attainment in countries that lack technological means to provide distance learning. For example, we had a lot of students that they had to drop out universities because they didn't have the financial efforts to follow the new reality of COVID-19. And can you imagine what happened to doctors? They had 2 years to study medicine from distance. How to touch a human body without to practice on it. It's very important. We have to rethink it. Difficulties in measuring learning outcomes due to undeveloped student performance assessment systems. To be honest, I'm not sure if they know all the damages we had. Every day we realize a new one. COVID-19 disruptions and the future of education, a really important part. An opportunity to address long-standing disparities in access and participation. Also, an opportunity to reframe the right to education. We need to think a lot about it. An opportunity to rethink learning contents, methods, and spaces. We cannot go to space with a donkey. But they demanded from us as teachers. They said, turn on your computer and do miracles. It doesn't work like this. We need to have the method, we need to have the training, we need to have the tools, we need to have the support. But we started alone, and till today, only small steps and small help from the ministries. We need to do more. Lessons learned from the challenges faced during the pandemic. About technological part, we had a lot of gaps in online learning, in new assessment modes, in ensuring quality, equity, and equality. We had the opportunity to use ICT and platforms and to try, at least to try. Economically, we had the lack of crucial resources. We tried to solve it with local collaborations. About social disruptions, we had social distancing, and segregation. In order to face that, we create a lot of social support, messages, and activities. I'm not sure if they are enough for all of us, especially the ones that they don't have the chance to use new technologies. The political sector, they tried to make a pandemic political. Is it that safe? Maybe only in the term that they tried to build up and local and regional partnerships. What about cultural sectors? Culturally diverse responses, grooming the culture of tolerance. We had a lot of dangers about culture. For the first time, our pupils, our kids, our students, they had to be online alone without to be informed about all the dangers they had to face. So we need to consider again, the way that we used all that technology. And about learning, those gaps in learning and also in psychological barriers, we had some opportunities, but we didn't face the problems. I'm sure that you understood that I'm trying to give you food of thought, not to offer you my thoughts. That's why I will stop here, and I will give you a lot of time until our next summit, and to have then a long discussion about the improvement of those things and those issues. Thank you so much, and I need to thank the organizers for the great invitation who they made to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your contribution. Next, I call upon Dr. Captain Dinisha Bharatwaj, Principal, Global Indian International School, Malaysia. I request Shah to share his views on today's education.
A very good evening and wonderful to be here. Well, today's education and the level and where we are heading to. Various various people have different views. When we talk about, I need charger. Yeah, sorry. My system is going out of battery. Just 1 second, let me plug in before I get disconnected.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I got it. So, yeah. When we talk about the current level, we do analyze, and there are various educationists who say that we are onto adding literacy, and there is much more to be done, and the world is brainstorming together to understand as to where do we need to reach. There are various forums where I have spoken, and I strongly feel on certain aspects which probably most of the speaker give a backseat to, and that is analyzing the good things, what is there currently, instead of just saying that yeah, there is a long way to go. Yes, I agree, always wherever we are there is a long way to go, but most important is to understand, analyze and respect as to where do we stand in current era. What are our past achievements? In whatever culture we are, whatever legacy we hold, there are achievements, there are few levels which are achieved at various levels. Here, sitting in Malaysia, when I interact with many Chinese, like Indian culture and Indian learning, Chinese too have a very rich heritage to understand, and I have seen them bringing it out with a pride that yes, that is where we are rich into it. Chinese culture, understanding, every year if the calendar is out, and every sunshine sign and zodiac sign is out with an animal where they kind of you assimilate and you understand what will be your next year, how it is going to be, and what are the achievements. Looking back, when I look at similar things and much more in Indian perspective, yes, many of us do think and say, yeah, there is a science behind it and there is an understanding which need to be developed. But many of us who call themselves actually educationists, we feel that, we quietly dump it under old understandings, or keeping it orthodox or keeping it unscientific, and we don't want to look into it. Now, today in this forum, when we are talking about the education, the current education, the futuristic trends of education, and whatever we are refining and doing and redoing, and we say unlearning. One thing which we have understood for unlearning is just dump the learning what you have done and go forward. That is a misnomer for unlearning. Unlearning is that being ready for what you have done with that background and being ready to achieve and acknowledge the future of learning. So that is one thing which I want to say, that today's education, when we talk about, I'm not only restricting to Indian culture, I'm talking about the heritage of various cultures. When we move forward, there is a platform which we are leaving behind, where many of the educationists have brainstormed, worked, and achieved. But yes, what happens is there is a dust of destiny which covers the past knowledge. It was not all that blind. It was not all that less valued or less achieved. It was probably much more than what we are looking forward to. So when we talk about today's education as educationist, as officer from Indian Armed Forces, as an educationist who's there now brainstorming with various heads of various countries as far as the level of education and understanding is concerned. I would just like to submit in a nutshell. Today's education is progressive. The thoughts are progressive. We need to achieve what we look forward, which is not visible to us in current era. But yes, my dear educationists and friends on this elite forum, I would like to request you through this platform that look back and polish it before somebody else comes back and does research on what you have achieved in past and claims it to be his or her tomorrow. That is what today's education calls for. It calls for polishing what we hold. It calls for taking a pride in what we carry, the legacy. It calls for understanding and analyzing. You and all of us rather stand to contribute to the world, to the level of education we are aspiring for, not that only we wait for it to come in our hands, given by somebody in a nice gift wrap and say, yes, this is the achievement in tomorrow's education. Yeah, we are so-and-so country or so-and-so culture, we have achieved it. You also come and follow us. The requirement is for wherever we stand, rise, understand, analyze, and you wrap the gift and give it to the world as tomorrow's education by nurturing your today and by unveiling your beautiful, wonderful scientific legacy of the past. So that is what I wanted to contribute. I didn't know how much time I have. So I think, in nutshell, I can say that take the pride and hold the prestige, and tomorrow is yours. That is what is today's education calls for. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for accepting our invitation. You have rightly pointed out the power of learning and relearning. Thank you so much for highlighting that two important terminology, which is really required for today's education. And next, I call upon Dr. Priyadarshi Nayak, a founder, GTEF India, to share his views on present education system. Dr. Priyadarshi Nayak. Okay, we'll move on to the next speaker. Now I invite Dr. Dheeraj Malhotra, Principal, Kunwas Global School, Lucknow. Sir, are you there? Over to you. Dr. Dheeraj Malhotra. I think sir left the room, it seems. Next, I call upon Dr. Jitesh Khanna.
So thank you so much.
I call upon Dr. Jitesh Khanna, philanthropist from New Delhi. Sir, over to you.
Thank you so much. First of all, my heartiest congratulations for hosting such a wonderful forum. And I, throughout the forum, was continuously listening and learning as much as I could, and it was very enriching, very different point of views and stuff. I will keep it very light, like I always do. And first and foremost, a lot of heavy things were talked about education and education policies and the future of education. In fact, one of the speakers went ahead and talked about nationalistic education. And I really appreciated his point of views. My point of view that I wanted to put forward, and in a very short, I'll take a very small this thing and I'll share it, is that we need to really move on even from the nationalistic point of view to internationalistic point of view. So we have to understand that we are telling our children to be nationalists, which is wonderful, and I'm a nationalist, and I really have this legacy that I have, and I believe in this idea of India. But what we really need to see in future is that our children are they transcend the barrier of caste, culture, religion, and race. That's how they will learn. That's the most beautiful way to learn, because as long as we are not connected with the world all around us and we are not able to nurture and cherish it, we will not be able to understand education. Now, there are few small points that I wanted to, because almost everything was taken care of in this white session. The few points that I wanted to get back to. These points were something that a lot of people here in this session would believe with me. So education is not only about creating great minds and creating great, to helping them find work or probably expanding their mind and stuff like that. Well, education goes much more deeper. Education is basically about igniting the flame. It is about igniting the flame of passion, the desire, in the heart of a student. It is basically, helping a child get in touch with his own culture, see a different perspective of life. Education makes us free. Now, we have been talking about different technological breakthroughs and softwares and systems that we can use to enhance education. We also touched upon these wonderful points about how social media is impacting education and children. But we don't realize that we cannot stop it now. Yesterday when I was reading about how Facebook has started Metaverse, the new organization, and soon we will see our children and most of us living in a metaverse. We'll be living in a virtual reality world. And there would be a time when the reality would be boring and the virtual reality world will be far more interesting. So you can't stop technology. What you can do is you can change people's hearts. You can connect them to age-old wisdom. You can connect them to age-old things. Education is not about only creating entrepreneurs, but I really believe in the future we'll need more entrepreneurs in India. What I'm very bullish about is that India is the youngest nation in the world. 60 to 70% of our population is youth. We are the richest nation in the world in terms of youth, and youth is the greatest treasure. I never count a country's blessing in terms of their GDP or in terms of how much gold they have or how much reserves they have, but it's the youth that creates the future of a nation. So I am very, very bullish the next 20, 30 years down the line, India is going to be a great force to reckon with. Having said that, when I was listening to the entire session, I just realized that we were just primarily focusing on different pedagogies. We were primarily focusing on different data that was coming to us. We were primarily focusing on, softwares and people who are doing innovation in terms of business. And we were also talking about all sorts of different rules and regulations that have come out. But if you notice, the more rules and regulations come out in society, the more crimes are happening. Even if you see in traffic violations, the more stricter the stringent the laws are, the more violations you see. It is because you have to fundamentally change the hearts and minds of people. So the future of education is great. It's going to be more people-friendly education. It's going to be education where students will be catered and given customized education. Children who are good at certain sets and skills, they will be given that kind of education. Children who are good at art, they will be given. All that is there. But the real purpose of education is basically to fundamentally ensure that knowledge serves to further the cause of human happiness and peace. So if education cannot bring people together, if education cannot make loneliness go away, if education cannot create better human beings, there is no point. Why I touched upon this point was because after listening to so many wonderful people, I really felt that there's nothing left to speak about. But the only point that was missing was that we were not talking about humanistic education. And humanistic education is extremely important in a divided world that we live in now. Now, all the data that I get, all the news that I get, all the information that I get, and I consume tons of information every day, just like others, I have realized that the world is getting divided more and more. And that is why instead of focusing on different pedagogies and all those things, can we go back to the root of humanistic education, an education where we are able to believe in the potential of other people, in the potential of children. We are able to bring the vigorous spirit from those children. We are able to stimulate them. We are able to help them turn knowledge into wisdom, because knowledge and wisdom are two different things. knowledge seldom distills to wisdom. You know, is education making us free? Is education making us a slave to consumerism? Is education putting us into a rat race again and again? That is the purpose of education. You know, I've been asked so many times that what is the purpose of education? What is the purpose of education? And I always tell people the purpose of education is happiness. If education cannot make you a happier person, a freer person, or a stronger person, there's no point of having education. You know, so education's main purpose is to make you a happier person. There is this existential dread. There is this struggle of being a human being. There is this countless onslaughts of life that come in front of you. If education doesn't prepare you for that, then something is missing in education. So this is one point I wanted to bring. That is the greatest resource actually. Education is basically the treasure that can actually develop human beings at an endless scale. It can encourage youth, a youth-centric education. The second point I want to bring to is specifically to India, is that if you've seen in last few months or years, there's a lot of unemployment in India. And if there's an opening for a job, there are thousands of recruits or thousands of hopeful recruits. So what I really now believe is I've started an organization called COED, Council of Entrepreneurship Development. And the reason behind this is that I really want the Indian youth to go towards entrepreneurship. Because in future, when the machines are taking over so much of work, when there is so much of lack of work, we need entrepreneurship education. So for that purpose, we are planning to build a platform where we will bring a lot of wonderful people who will help children. So if you see in India, we live a very homogeneous and heterogeneous way. You have a city like Bombay, where you have a place like Dharavi, which is like the biggest slum in Asia. But in Dharavi, you have people who have more wealth than certain people in certain parts of the country. So we have a very mixed culture in India. So for tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities, there are a lot of children who have no resources, but a lot of great ideas, and they're ready to work very hard. So for them to reach out to them and provide them entrepreneurship education, that is very important. So these are the two aspects I've been working on. One is the humanistic side of the education that I wanted to talk about. I know it is probably going out of the way, I'm digressing a bit. And the other is entrepreneurship education. These are the two things that I'm really working on. And I'm really looking forward to this, for a lot of people to join us in this initiative and help India become an entrepreneurship capital. Because we have the youth, we have the resources, we have all the strength, we have all the pros, we have the cons too, and we have tons of cons. But what we have is youth. And as long as there is a single youth that stands up, I mean, the nation, the nation will prosper. So that is what I wanted to talk about. Thank you so much. I will not take more time. A lot of topics have been taken care of. This is something that I wanted to talk about. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Dijesh Khanna, on your views. Important announcement to all the panelists over here. If I miss out anybody's name, please text your name in the chat box. Meantime, I would like to capture the virtual group photo. We had a wonderful panelist today on day one of World Education Summit. So I request all the panelists and speakers to switch on your camera to capture the virtual group photo. If I miss out anybody's name, please text your name in the chat box. I request all of you to switch on your camera for a moment. We have seen one name in the chat box. And now I call upon Dr. Megha Sharma.
Yeah, hi.
Megha Sharma, Founder, Managing Director, Empower All Foundation, Mumbai. Ma'am, over to you. Please share your views on today's topic.
Well, today's topic has been very enlightening, listening to different speakers, personally, it was enlightening to me also to do a lot of data research and know how slave we are, towards the technology. And whatever has been discussed today is going to be the way forward. Entrepreneurship, as rightly just said, that is the way forward. Many kids are going to be their own, working on their own terms. There is a lot of change that will happen, which may have happened, say 10 years down the line, but due to COVID, the kind of technology usage we have done, the kind of changes we've made, the kind of thought processes that have happened, it's like, we've come forward. So there's a time machine, that we've understood that, we've at least come a decade before what we would have come 10 years later. So yeah, thank you so much for organizing this summit. Very, very enlightening.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It is time to conclude the day one of World Education Summit. Distinguished delegates, I would like to start my concluding remarks with a simple message. Thank you all, whether you are from abroad or you are already here in India, whether you participated directly or you worked behind the scenes, you have all shown your commitment, and because of you, this first day session of World Education Summit was a successful one. I hope you all have enjoyed yourself today and learned something from this deliberation. Thank you all again for being here, and I encourage you all to stay connected with each other on the road ahead. We'll meet again tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. for the second day session of World Education Summit 2021 with the different panelists. Until then, take care, goodbye, stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is the group photograph done?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Bye.